Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Before It's Too Late. As I said in last week's episode, I was going to follow up with Pam on another edition of Pam's life after retirement.
Right.
So she did things a little bit different than many of us that I plan to do. Like when I
Mhm.
retire, I'm going to be done working. At least that's my pre-retirement view of things.
Right.
But Pam did it a little different,
Yeah. Yeah.
and if you didn't watch last week's, I'll put a link probably at the end for sure, and there'll be one around here somewhere that you'll see on the screen. So just give a watch at that one if you want to know how she got to the point of saying it was time to retire. But let's talk about what retirement looked like for you when you actually did pull the trigger.
Yeah. So I decided it was done, everything kind of lined up, right, which we talked about last time. Everything kind of lined up with Penny's offering the early retirement and all that good stuff.
Right.
In that time span, at some point, my youngest daughter was buying a house. They sold a condo and were buying a house, and so she wanted me to come up here and look and tell eh, my opinion of the house. So in the meantime, I met her realtor, a real nice lady. I worked for Remax, and I was telling her I was going to retire, and she said, "What are you going to do?" And I said, "I'm going to have to do something." And that
Okay.
was just me. I just don't want to, I just didn't want to sit around and um, I didn't have much in my mind that I thought, oh, I could volunteer somewhere. I could, but would I do it? So I just needed a purpose. So
And you said and like last time you said it was just going to work where you had your career was just a drag.
it was.
Like you were just like done
Yeah.
with it.
It was, and I think most of that, there were some changes that were happening, but I think most of it was just because Kevin passed away, and it just wasn't fun anymore. And
Right.
so I knew that I got too much energy to
Do
not
something.
do something. So
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 do you,
talk. Go
do
ahead.
you have some friends like I mean, we're about the same age and I
Hmm.
have some friends that are retired.
Yeah.
It's some that are a few years older than me and are still hard at it full time. I'm sure you had conversations with people about
Um,
what's retirement going to look like and should I do it or shouldn't I do it?
I did. I did, but it seems like um, in the people that I would talk to is usually Penny's people. So they were
Okay.
kind of in the same predicament as I was, and some of them were going to stay on and not, because the early retirement was offered to anyone 55 and over. And if
Okay.
you had, I don't remember how many years of service, but I had plenty. And so a lot of them were going to stay on because they just simply didn't feel like they could afford it.
Okay.
And so that's really when I went and said, "Can I afford it?
Right.
Can I?" And he's like, "Yes." Go. Probably should have done it a lot sooner.
Right. Okay.
If you had a plan. But yeah, I talked to a lot of people, but mostly probably my dad
Okay.
was my kind of the sole person that I talked to the most, and I saw how when he retired, and he got up, he was 7 days a week, just like I was, just get up and go. And when he retired, he, was getting up a little bit later, unlike like what he did, and
Okay.
driving my mom nuts,
All right.
And so to save their marriage, I was like, you got to do something. So he kind of chose to. They got 7 acres, just here in Kansas City, and so he did a lot of honeydews for her, planting, I don't know, hundreds of trees, and that kept him pretty busy. And then, but he would get up every morning and he'd go have breakfast with a bunch of retirees,
Okay.
and so I think that helped him kind of get kind of just stay in the loop of being around people.
How
And
old was he when he retired?
he was 60.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and he was full retirement age when it was 60 at that time. Mine was going to be 65. But, so I knew that he, you know, I knew I couldn't do that. Plus I didn't have a mom, I didn't have a Kevin to drive crazy.
Right.
So I needed, there was, I needed, a purpose. And that's the only reason. And I thought that real estate be real easy, that I actually did all my licensing while we were on furlough. And so I got everything done online, and then I met Laura, and she introduced me to her broker, and just loved them and realized that my years of retail service which was, client experience and problem solving,
Right.
actually goes hand in hand with real estate,
Okay.
and so I thought, oh, this will be fun and easy. And we moved a whole lot of times. And so that's what I'm going to do. So that was 20. I started in 2020, and 2020 and 2021. That's when the interest rates were really good, and so I was probably busier than um, I wanted to be for sure.
And what were
But
you thinking going in? Were you thinking it was gonna be a full-time
part-time.
job?
Nope, part-time.
Okay.
Just part-time, a transaction, 6 or 7 transactions, and, um
6 or 7 transactions a month, a year? What were
a year,
Okay, so
and
you
that's pretty good. And
okay.
I thought, "Yeah, I can do that," that'll give me time. And I didn't realize that it's not your time, it's your client's time. So
Right.
if they work an 8 to 5, you're out in houses at 5 o'clock in the afternoon to, 8 o'clock at night, and it's always weekends. And, the summertime is when everybody's looking, and that's when I wanted to be at the lake. And
Right.
so there was a lot of things, but it was fun. It was fun while it lasted, and I did really, well, at it. And, kind of call that my transition. And once I got settled here, realized how much time the grandkids were taking. And, that grandma's a full-time job too, and can be a full-time job too. So, I thought, just probably this year, I really need to back off even more.
So you started real estate in late 2020
Yes.
and kind of full on full-time job for how long? 2 years,
Till
3
till
years?
till really, last year was um, probably I could say part-time
Okay.
last year. So probably 2 years. It was, they have awards. So it was I got the executive award once, and the 100% award twice. And so, I mean, I always got awards for,
Okay.
every year. And I realized I probably could do it and keep doing it, and make pretty good money at it. But
But then it comes down to
time,
time.
yeah.
Like
What's the worth of, yeah,
right.
yeah,
Yeah, what the is the money, do you need the money
right,
enough to sacrifice the time?
yeah. And the answer is no.
Okay.
So
And
it's
but did it take you the 4 years to realize that, or did you just as your family has matured, I mean, your grandkids are getting older,
yeah.
and they're getting more involved, you're like, "Okay, I don't
I don't have
really need
time.
this.
Yeah,
I don't need it, and I want the time."
that's exactly right. And, and then realizing that I can comfortably do it without it, without it. It was always nice having, that extra when it was commission time. It's
Right.
always nice to have that, but I didn't need it. It was, uh not as important as going to rodeos and, different activities.
Spending time at your lake house.
Spending time more than anything, my happy place is what I call it.
Okay.
So that was, I wouldn't be able to go. I'd have to go during the week, and then the rest of the family, because it's a open, everybody has their room. They got to decorate this is your
Right.
room. You take care of it, and, pull the flag in and turn the temperature down. And there's a list of things they have to do before they leave, but everybody's welcome to go whenever they
Okay.
want to. And so, everyone was having fun on weekends, and I was
Yep.
showing houses.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, that's no good.
yeah, so probably I'm gonna say last year, into last year, maybe middle of last year, summer of last year, I got to spend a little bit more time, because I wasn't saying no, I just wasn't offering. I used to fill vacations, when a
Mhm.
realtor was on vacation, then I would take on any clients that they had. And so I just said maybe somebody else would want to do it. So we
Okay.
got some young, um, agents that are just starting out. Go ahead and give it to them. And so that's kind of how I started backing out a little bit.
Okay. And now your plan is going forward, maybe do some friends and family stuff,
That's
but
it.
that's about it.
That's it. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, yeah. And so now I didn't, and this is another thing I didn't know, is that you can get Social Security at 60,
Okay.
as early as 60. I didn't know that. So here I am, 62, and, figured it out. And so I'm getting that. But what comes with that is you can't make more than
X amount. Whatever.
whatever, 22,000, maybe it's gone up a little bit. So I can't make much very much money. So I'm keeping my license, and I'm just gonna do friends and family and, do you know, keep it at that
Okay.
small amount.
Okay. So the transition, you think that that time in real estate then
Yeah.
helped you transition from a full-time career to a little something else, and now you're ready to just
Yeah,
be
it's time.
grandma
It is time. Yes.
and kind of be at the family's beck and call a little
It
bit.
is. My dad is 80. He'll be 88 this year, and he's in decent health, but not great health. I mean, I say he's going to
Yeah,
be a robot, as he's got a pacemaker, he's got a Watchman, and then they want to put something else in him. I'm saying you're going to be a robot here pretty soon. But all
right.
the advanced everything. But I, you know, take it. I cook for him, and I go over there every single day,
Okay.
and visit with him, and so that's been a full time job. I think I may have told you this before, but he says I'm his free caretaker.
Right.
It doesn't cost him a thing.
Right.
So
Because caretakers are expensive
yeah,
if you have to pay for one,
yeah,
for
it
sure.
it is. So, I know he doesn't ever wanna go into a retirement home, and he never will,
Okay.
and so it will, between I know I'll probably take the brunt of it because 'cause I'm the only girl, but the boys, certainly will help too. But, he's the I get to that's some quality time you can't get back,
Right.
and he's not getting any younger, and so I don't wanna ever look back, and think I wish I had of
Right.
spent more time with him, because I do with my mom, because she died in 2013. I was still working full time, and I was most of the time not in Kansas City. I think I started my career in Kansas City, and then then of course came back as a retirement. But I was always away, and after she passed away, it was it was. I wish I would have been able to spend more time. It was good time, but I wish I would have been able to spend more time with her.
Right. And that's, yeah, I think that's what a lot of us at this stage of life are just thinking about. And we did a video way back when we first started
Yeah,
about how many weeks you have left if you're 60 years old, and it's a what do I want to say? It's an eye-opening chart when you put it out there. How many weeks are behind you
and how
versus how
many?
many weeks are ahead of you?
Yeah,
And
that would be kind of interesting.
yeah,
Yeah.
and if the longer you work, the more those weeks aren't your own,
If that's the truth.
right?
Yeah.
So
That is the truth. And I think as have slowed down in my, life, it's been about quality, not about the quantity or the bank account or
and the stuff,
the stuff.
right?
It just doesn't haven't been a big stuff person anyway. So I think that the quality of the people that you're spending it with
Hmm.
is really the most important. I mean, I really do appreciate you and Robbie and the you know what you do here, and I'm sure that it's helped a lot of people as they've gone through thinking about retirement. I don't think you can think about it too soon, though.
Right.
I think as I was telling my daughter Lola about what you do and what you've been doing on these videos. I made her and she's 37. I made her 3 years ago, because she worked for pennies also, and then she's a full-time mom. So,
Okay.
um, she had a little bit in her 401k, and I said, "You need to call," you know, I gave her my finance guy, "And you get it going right now, and
Right.
think about that." And, she said, "We've already, made money on it." And I said, "So think about, you're only 37. If I'd have
Right.
done that when I was
Exactly
37,
right. Yeah.
what could mine have
Yep.
looked like?" And, I'm not complaining or hurting
Right.
or anything, but, it's never too early to think about it. And
Right.
know that, everyone appreciates, what you're
Well,
the
it's funny. I had a conversation with one of the bosses at my job, and he was surprised that I'm retiring, and he's a couple years younger than me. But I just said, "So why are you still working?"
yeah,
And he said, "Well, I've still got kids at home." And I said, "Yeah, but is their college already paid for?"
right.
And he's like, "Well, yeah." And I said, "So
Why
do you want this job to kill you?"
yeah, right.
Like, I mean, and not that he works a lot of hours and he's stressed on occasion, but the quality time, the money isn't going to buy that time back, right?
Mm-mm, it's not. And you hear so many people that they retire, and they go mow their yard for the first time and they fall over of a heart attack. I mean, it's
Right.
not,
Tomorrow's not
it's
guaranteed.
not guaranteed. And so, take life, and run with it.
Okay. So on a lighter note,
Yeah.
what do you if you're looking at the time you've spent in retirement so
Yep.
far, what's been a surprise to you? Anything?
Um, I think probably in the not so much the first year, I just had so much adjusting to do, but probably in the last year and a half, maybe 2 years, is the time you have and how
Like
you
you have a lot or you
you
fill
have
it up?
you have a lot of time,
Okay.
and it's deciding how to fill that up.
Okay. Have
Is
you
it
had any
is it
trouble filling it up?
No, I filled it up. I pretty much filled it up,
I hear
but
that a lot. Yeah.
you can choose it a lot of different ways. I could sit and watch Netflix all day if I wanted to, and I love documents, and that's all I watch at night is
Documentaries.
documentaries, and I think you can't name one that I probably haven't watched, but that's because night that's mine.
Yeah.
That's I don't have anything to do. So during the day, you could I don't have any problem. It's a matter of um, I've got my little 2 and 3-year-olds that FaceTime me and say, "Can we go to a restaurant and eat breakfast?" You know?
Okay.
So it's you jump up and that's what we're
Okay.
gonna do. So
Okay.
I guess it's a lot of spontaneous, not so much planning. I was always a planner. I lived on my phone calendar that this is what I'm gonna do and when I'm gonna do it. If I wasn't planning something, my daughter can tell you when we went on vacation, it was like everything was planned out, what we're gonna do.
Okay.
So that's probably the biggest thing. I let go of that.
Okay.
I let go of having to have everything planned and just let life happen. So
That's a great thing.
yeah, it really is. And so
Freeing.
freeing. So if I
Yeah.
want to go, get my nails done, I'm going to just
Okay.
go get my nails done.
Right.
And it doesn't have to be and I can call and get it done now, and it doesn't have to be
Right.
next Wednesday or a week from
Yeah.
Wednesday.
Okay.
And so I think that probably was the biggest thing. Life doesn't have to be planned out to a T.
How about any sort of disappointment where you're looking at it and going, "This isn't what I thought it was going to be," or "This isn't all it's cracked up to be"? Anything like that?
Nope.
Hey, that's great.
No.
That's awesome.
I mean, honestly, I've never looked back.
Okay.
I've never looked. I don't know. I can't even imagine anyone looking back and going, "Boy, I would really like to go back to the grind." I
Right.
just
Yeah.
I just can't even imagine. So, um, yeah, no, I can't say that there's been any regret at
Oh,
all.
that's awesome.
I know. You won't either.
Yeah,
You won't have any either.
I'm not worried about me. It's my other half
Oh, yeah.
that I've got to get on board
You're
with.
gonna be like my dad was to my mom, drive her crazy.
That's probably true. That's probably
Yeah.
true.
Y'all will find something to do, and whether it's, your own thing or to get, together, I'm sure that you'll find your own thing to do.
Okay. Well, again, I think your experience, like having a lifelong career
Mhm.
and then some transition time and sort of a second career,
Yeah,
and then realizing, okay, it's really
it
time
really
now,
is time.
and I'm gonna step back totally and just kind of turn my life over to whatever comes tomorrow.
It is. And I think it's what's important is I'm still healthy. And
Yeah.
so I can still do it. I
Yep.
mean, and if I would have I could have kept doing real estate and worked hard, and then you're just not living life. So
Okay.
I can't stress that enough.
So to all the people that are going to be watching you, what do you want to tell them? What's one thing you'd say if you're 40s, 50s, 60s? What do you tell them?
It's not too early. It's not too early to go and meet with a financial advisor. It doesn't matter how much money that you have. Just go and let them work with it. They can come up with a long-term plan for you. Just something that I didn't do. I was lucky that I was able to do it at a later age, but it's never too early.
Yeah, and even if you're in your 50s and you
Yeah.
haven't saved much,
Nope.
they'll put you on a plan to say, here's what your life's going to look like.
That's exactly
Right?
right. And yeah, they'll
Yeah.
give you an eye opener of what it might look like if you
Right.
don't if you
Okay.
don't. Yeah.
Well, again, thank you. I
Thank
mean,
you.
thanks for walking over from next door.
I
And
know it's a long
it's,
walk.
All right,
Right.
and I appreciate you
Yeah.
just being honest and
Yeah.
being open, and yeah, I think the folks out there will get something from our conversation again, and I hope they
Hope
do.
so. Yeah.
So again, everybody, I appreciate you watching. Pam's been a trooper for me here and come over. I had a little technical difficulties the first night,
It's all
but
right. No
she was
worries.
willing to come back,
Yeah.
and we got the second one done.
Perfect.
So if you enjoy it, please like the video and subscribe to our channel. I'll do more videos. Maybe I'll have Pam on again in the future. She can talk to us about
Something.
what life at the lake is really like. I don't know,
Exactly.
whatever that
How the
might be.
fishing is,
Yeah.
what the water levels are.
But as I said before, I'll put up here on the screen what kind of pushed her finally to call it quits with her career. And it's happened to far too many people that said they waited too long.
That's
So
true.
don't be one of those.
Right.
Thanks for watching. God bless.